He spent his whole life building a house, but no one ever lived in it. What? You thought we were gone, not talk about some unfinished basement with a pile of sawdust in the corner and a guy with 30 cats living in it, right? He'd studied architecture and had big dreams about what he wanted to do. He wanted to build houses for people who didn't have a place to live, and he started doing that. Sure, he'd worked on a bunch of houses while he was studying architecture, but he'd never designed one from scratch. In fact, he put so much work into it, he ended up winning an award for Best New House, but it didn't matter. Genzo didn't care about any of that. All he cared about was his house. He put so much love into it. He paid $2 million for it, then he spent another $1 million fixing it up. This time a new owner restored it to its former glory. They added solar panels and they opened up a cafe in the garden. They're pretty cool. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Today you can visit the house and see everything Genzo worked so hard. 4. You can even stay the night. You can rent out one of the bedrooms and sleep in a futon on the tatami floor. It costs 33,000 yen per night, about $230, so it's not super expensive. It is a little expensive. The owner hasn't said whether or not they'll open up more rooms, but for now, only one room is available. Once it was done, he opened it up to the public. Sure, there are plenty of amazing houses in Japan you can rent. Why would you want to stay in this one? The truth is, most people don't know about the house at all. Even though it's technically a tourist destination, there's no official tourism board listing. You'll never find it unless you already know about it. For whatever reason, most people don't care about this house. They don't care about Genzo's story, and that's why nobody ever lived in it. People had to pay admission, but if they did, they could walk through Genzo's house and see everything he'd built. It became known as the House of the River's End. People would visit from all around Japan just to see it. Eventually, though, the house fell into disrepair again. It's older now. Some parts of it are collapsing. There are weeds growing everywhere. If you visited, you wouldn't find the beauty Genzo had intended. He carved flowers into the walls and ceilings. He built a beautiful garden out front. He even built a koi pond. The house had 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, plus a huge living room. Overall, it was a real masterpiece. Still, Genzo figured it would be fine. He'd figure it out as he went along, and so he bought some wood and got to work. Every morning, Genzo woke up before sunrise and headed out to the farm. After plowing the rice paddies, he'd head home and work on his house. He did this 7 days a week for 10 years. At first, the house looked like a mess, just a bunch of random pieces of wood thrown together. But as the years went by, it started taking shape. The roof started looking like a roof. The walls started looking like walls. In the end, it would look nothing like the house Genzo had torn down. It would be even bigger and better, but after a few years, he lost interest. He felt like every house looked the same. They all had the same walls, the same windows. When he was 78 years old, he had a stroke. He survived, but it left him partially paralyzed. He couldn't use his right arm or leg. He also couldn't speak. Doctors told him he might make a full recovery, but at that point, Genzo was too old to keep working. He spent the rest of his life living in a nursing home. He died at age 86, never having lived in his house. They all looked the same, and it felt like he wasn't accomplishing anything. One day he drove past a small village and he saw an old wooden house. The house was falling apart, but there was something about it that made him stop the car. It was a traditional Japanese house, and it had been built over 100 years ago. But somehow it was still standing. Genzo walked around the house and he noticed the wood was so worn down it was almost smooth. The beams were curved perfectly. There was a garden out front, and inside the house, there was a tatami floor and sliding paper doors. He could see how the previous owners had lived their lives. There was an old woman's kimono hanging on the wall. There was a kid's shoe outside the door. It felt like he could feel their spirits. He talked to the owner of the house and asked if he could tear it down and rebuild it somewhere else. The owner agreed, and Genzo set out to make his dream come true. Back when he was 13, Genzo's dad died. That meant Genzo had to take over the family farm. Farming wasn't exactly what Genzo had in mind, but farming was all they had. It was hard work that took up all their time. But after hours, Genzo would work on his dream. He taught himself how to use a tractor and plow the fields, and by age 26, he was pretty good at it. He even won an award for the best rice paddy in town. But he still wasn't happy. He wanted more from life, so he went to Tokyo to study architecture, and eventually he got his degree and came home. Nope, not today. Our story starts back in 1947 in rural Japan. A young man named Genzo Hamatani just graduated from university. Genzo loved farming, but he knew he needed to do something else. But the problem was, Genzo had never actually designed a house before. Meanwhile, Genzo's farm was doing great. He never had to worry about money, so he could spend as much time as he wanted on his project. The problem was, Genzo never finished it. Why not? Well, because life had other plans. After Genzo died, his family sold the house. An art dealer named Shigeru Ban bought it. In 2016, the house was saved once again. But here's the thing, most people don't go there. What do you think? Would you visit this house? Let me know in the comments below. Also, check out these videos.